I'm reading from Psalm 22. Dogs have surrounded me. A band of evil men has encircled me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. This is a central verse, a prophecy 1,000 years before the time of Jesus Christ that actually speaks to the form of his death. A capital punishment that wasn't even devised yet. And then, 1st century AD, the Romans had definitely figured out how to execute by crucifixion. Crucifixion usually began with a flogging, a scourging of the back. They would take a cat of nine tails. It'd be leather strands tied with metal and bone, and they would lay the back bare. And typically they would expose not only flesh, but even internal organs. Now, under the Jewish law, it was limited to 40 lashes. So generally speaking, what they would do is only 39 because they didn't want to have a miscount and somehow violate the holy law. Well, once this scourging or this flogging was done, the next step would be to actually have the one who was going to be crucified actually carry the form, the instrument of their own death. Now, this would be the patibulum. This is the crossbar on the cross. This thing could weigh 100 pounds, and they would lay this on this weakened person. In the case of Jesus Christ, if you look at the gospel accounts, he probably walked the length of about 2 football fields with a patibulum, a crossbar that could have weighed 100 pounds. No wonder he needed help. Now, once you get to the crucifixion site, they would already have this 7-foot up beam already there called the stipes. And what they would do is they'd have the victim lay down, and they would take these nails 7 inches long by 3/8 in diameter, and they put these right through your wrists. So of course, in the pictures they have it going through the hands, but the ancient accounts are real clear that it would actually go right here through the wrist, so that you could actually be held up without ripping off the cross, okay? So then what they do is after they mounted you on this cross, you had this really crude seat. There was a little seat that was actually on the stipes, and they would twist your body kind of in a contorted way so they could actually nail your 2 feet on there. And your hands would be across the patibulum and your feet down on the stipes, and you're sitting on this kind of crude seat, and then they would lift you up. Now, crucifixion was horrible in and of itself. Your bones would be dislocated. You would, just the most awful form of torture prior to death. But the ultimate way that you died was suffocation. You'd be asphyxiated because what you're doing is there's this tremendous pressure on your chest cavity as you're hanging up there. And the only way to get a breath would be to, fighting against the pain, lift up just to inhale your lungs, and then you would come back. And over the hours of doing this, there's this trade-off between excruciating pain and getting another breath. And then ultimately, you died from suffocation. You just couldn't push yourself up anymore. So this heinous form of torture and death called crucifixion, which the psalmist David spoke about 1,000 years before the time of Jesus Christ, and hundreds of years before this form of execution even came on the world stage. I continue from Psalm 22. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart has turned to wax. It is melted away within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You lay me in the dust of death. Now, this is the psalmist 1,000 years before Jesus Christ, speaking these prophetic words as Christ from the cross. Psalm 22 starts with, my God, why have you forsaken me? This is Jesus' cry to God as he's taking all the sins of the world on him. He's saying, God, why are you turning your back on me? Because God can't look at this sin that Christ was dying for once and for all. Again, this prophecy, 1,000 years before the time of Jesus Christ. One of the things I would just totally encourage you to do is read these for yourself. Psalm 22, Isaiah 53, another incredible prophecy written about 700 years before the time of Jesus Christ. And then compare these to the 4 gospel accounts, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When we speak of the crucifixion, when you see the words of Jesus Christ from the cross, you're going to be stunned. I really, really encourage you to check out the evidence for yourself. Don't listen to me as I portray it, but go read Psalm 22 that I just read from here. Go read Isaiah 53 and compare them to the gospel accounts for yourself. I think you'll be amazed.